Whoa! It's the Illusion reporting from somewhere on spaceship Earth. I'm up at the top of Rincon, the Rincon Point here in California, Queen of the Coast. There's some surf, there's swell. I surfed this morning, surfed pretty sizable yesterday for this spot, and just kind of taking it easy and getting ready to go for the extended mid-afternoon evening session. And yeah, I thought I would check in because my buddy Jimmy came up to the ranch, I don't know, 3 months ago, and filmed the video, and he just dropped it onto YouTube. I'm gonna put a link down below to that. And it was interesting. It put a lens on myself. I saw how stiff my back was. I gotta work on that. But it put a lens on myself about where I was and where I am and the growth, but also what I think I've been talking about this for a while on my channel is just this weird calcified state part of my being. And trying to jump into it. You know, that whole thing happened in 2020 with the lockdowns and the whole thing. And, you know, we were freedom fighters through all that stuff. A lot of us figured out who we are when it goes down. And we saw what everybody else is about too. But, you know, I moved up to the homestead at the tail end of all that, like, you know, coming out of you know, the Malibu Westlake region with it all. Like, it was still totally like locked down and weird when we moved up to the homestead at the end of 21, right? Is it the end of 21? What is it? It's gonna be 25, so spring of 22. Yeah, so we moved up there at the beginning of 22, but like the energy to go get it was coming out of like, we have to get out of the city. This is insane. These people are crazy. We have children. They can't grow up with this vibe and the whole mentality, and just, it was too much, right? And then I moved up to the ranch, and I basically put my head down for 2.5 years, just working up there, trying to, you know, putting up fences, working on building the bunkhouse, trying to figure out how to grow food, get livestock, just figuring out how to, you know, because right in that transitions where Al really kicked into like the education and balancing homeschooling. And, you know, I'll say is it's not easy to make a giant transition. It was super hard on my wife, dude. She, you know, it's easier for a dude to jump into that scene than a woman, man. And going from, you know, the big environment, you know, where we knew everybody. Like, we knew everybody in Malibu, and not everybody, but you know what I mean? We had our local network, and it was our home court. And, you know, we'd been there since we were kids, and, you know, I'd left and moved around and stuff. But, you know, when you know people in the fabric of a community, and then you move up to a new community that's super small, and it's got a lot of generational people there who've been hiding out up in that Kern River Valley since they settled it, right? And so, you know, I just put my head down, stayed on my ranch, did my ranch stuff, you know, branched out, you know, became a member at the church. Now I'm a trustee. You know, I joined the Little League board to just, you know, participate in the community. But I'm good on a social aspect about not having to socialize. That's not the same experience my wife had. You know, for her, like, it was a huge transition, and so we're finally almost three years, right? 2 years, 9 months since we moved up here. And, you know, I've built most of the things I need to build up on the ranch. And, you know, we have a client living up there now, and we're getting our business up and running with the with what we do with adolescents and stuff, and so, you know, I'm getting to this point where, like, I'm exploring my sort of in motion self, right? And I was down here getting out of my suit, and like a dude came up to me. He's like, "Are you the illusion?" I go, "Yeah." He's like, "Dude, in college, I had to make a video, and I copied your video and cut my hair and the whole thing." He's like, "It's wild to meet you." And I run into some other people that, you know the illusion, dude, right? But I've been, like I said, I've been calcified in this perception of where I am in this timeline I've created for myself. And I haven't created it for myself in that sense. Like, God definitely created it for me, but I showed up, right? I heard the request. I started the YouTube channel, which, if you know the story, dude, it's all a divine intervention. But I've been stuck since the beginning of 2020, man. And I don't, as a freedom fighter and a free spirit and all of that kind of stuff, I'm really beginning now to look at what a toll that whole experience did take on me. You know, because part of what I was doing was being a node in the freedom fighter thing. Like a lot of people were calling, asking for help. What do I do? And I was sending out all the paperwork and the documents and all the stuff. And I was running a counterinsurgency, if you will, to the man, which is, you know, but we're all part of the grid. And so I've been trying to figure out where I fit. But what's interesting, and Jimmy just dropped this video where it starts out with the bowl cut stuff and the Tosh.0, and then he goes into, like, interviews me about up at the ranch about what I'm doing, and I could see the transition. Self can't reveal self to self, right? It's super hard to see in myself what is going on and where I am in the timeline. I just got to keep moving forward. But the hard part is when you get calcified in that motion where you're not really able to take a look at the divine reality. And I think it makes us internally a little bit grumpy, a little bit angry, a little bit confused, a little bit fearful, a little bit, I don't know. And so I've been on this journey down here, which is timed well. Realizing, you know, we're missing a couple cues. We're not living the life to our fullest up on the ranch. Like, we've all gotten through, like, our transition period. And we live there. That's our home. Like, that's where we live. And there's no running from that, right? And it takes a while to find that. I get why people don't pull anchor and set up shop somewhere else. It takes a while to find. It's easy when you're solo. You just go set up shop and just meet people. But when you got a wife and children, there's a lot going on, and you're trying to set up a business and pay the bills and do all that. And I think what I just learned watching this video and talking to these people that pulled me out of the thing is I'm still in this trippy bandwidth, but I've almost forgotten the divinity of that bandwidth, right? Which has made me not click into it. And I've talked a lot about you know, when the big ad apocalypse happened at the end of 19 and everybody was bailing the YouTube platform, and I was like, no, I'm riding it out, dude. It's going to circle back. Because you have to understand, up until from the beginning of 2020 till Jimmy came up and gave me some advice, I've been losing subscribers steadily, dude, and my thing was shrinking. And I'll tell you what, it's when you spend 10 years growing and then all of a sudden you begin to contract, however gnarly you are, it wears on you and you don't know what you're doing. And I kept pushing through, and I'm pushing through, and you know, now my thing's beginning to grow, and I was talking to my wife, it's like, because of the way our business is and what's going, where we're kind of getting it going, is it's time for me to get back out into the milieu of the world, if you will. I spent almost 3 years isolated up on the ranch. You know, I've left to go surfing a couple times, but it's time to get back into what the illusion does. And the illusion's on Spaceship Earth. Yes, my headquarters is up in the Southern Sierras, but I'm not done. And I've been struggling with that too, and I realized that part of not being done is I do need to focus on my health and well-being a lot more. I was watching the video, it was super rad, but I also just was checking out, like when my shoulders are back, it's because my back's stiff. And I'm like, okay, I got to loosen up. And I'm out here, and it's hard to get back into the rhythm of the ocean when you're not in the rhythm of the ocean, right? So I'm finally getting back into the rhythm of the ocean, but I got to keep that ball moving. And I got to get that, it's the fire, and I got to decalcify my perception. And I think the hardest thing to get over is I've been pretty jaded about it all. Like the whole thing for a while. I think, you know, even though we were freedom fighters during the 2020 era, I think it's super hard to get over the fact that everybody wasn't a freedom fighter. You kind of think that that's the nature of who we are as a society here in North America, but we're not. We don't live in a society of freedom fighters. And I think I became very black-pilled about it and very disenchanted, even though I'm an optimist, and I completely shifted my life to be in the optimism, but it was a very isolated thing that I was doing. I went from the big infinite world of being the illusion and just going out and being the illusion to contracting my whole world into 3 acres in some teeny town up in the Southern Sierras as not the illusion, right? Because like on one level, I'm the new guy in town, right? So I can't be that dude. I mean, I am that dude, so there's no denying like that aspect. I am the Volca guy. But I think what I'm getting at is coming out of that period where the world got super small in 2020, and you realize that whatever it is, it's sort of, it's as much as I can put it into a perspective, it's still calcified my outgoingness, if you will. I've eaten, like, that's why I'm just trying to switch up my content and get back to what it always was. And it was always about the daily struggle to stay positive and make lemonade out of lemons, right? And some days are good, some days are bad, some days are just another day. But I think the hard part's been when like the whole thing turned into a lemon. You're like, dude, that's a lot of, I gotta make a lot of lemonade, and I don't know how to make that much lemonade, dude. And so my outward tentacles to this reality we all inhabit together became very deadened in the sense it was like my roots got salted, and I was just living off the taproot of my own self manifesting divinity. But I depend upon other. You are gonna clean that up, huh? You didn't? Nothing. Dude just let his dog take a dump right there. But so that's, see, because I'm not gonna be quiet about stuff. we'll make it. The dude let his dog just take a dump, and I was like, dude, you know, and so that's where this thing's sort of morphing around into this sort of expanding thing. Is life is a team sport, and my team has been very small, and I think it's time for all of us to like expand upon the team mode. So this has been a great expansion of perception to the reality, dude. And I want to thank Jimmy Larson, whose video's down below, for coming up and for him helping my channel to start grow again, because he gave me some advice. And so I think it's been super potent. He's got a super valuable energy, and we know each other back from the Juicy Van tours where we first met, because he cleaned up the horse bowl that I skated with Rayborn and Gravette and stuff. So we're all tied together, and I'm excited. I am excited. Like, I feel like the decalcification going on and the whole thing like that. So this is The Illusion. I definitely at this time need the like button smashed and join, become a member. And you should go to my TikTok account. I've been putting videos up there. The TikTok's kind of lame. PayPal down below, dude. If you dig what's going on, tip your talker. And the most important thing you can do is use your name tags, or read the name tags and use them. And I'm out in the world, man. All right, I'll see you at the next episode.